Hi everybody, this is Tina with Rehatch Designs, and I wanted to show you a way that I decorate pages. I usually have a lot of coffee dyed papers that I leave blank, and a lot of times I don't decorate them until later on. I don't necessarily always do it while I'm coffee dyeing them. Just because I do really large batches, and I haven't done a great job with the lace and things like that, so I'm probably still needing to work on that and perfect it. But what I have done is I have kind of cheated a little bit, and I do some like decorating after the fact, and it gives a similar effect, and I use my distress ink to do that. I like to use Vintage Photo a lot, but I do use some lighter colors, and today I'm going to try doing it with some oxide, just because I thought that would work pretty good. And let me try that. I just got it, so we're going to try that. And of course, you can do it with lighter colors too. I have some antique linen right here too, and I might try that just to kind of see what it looks like. But I have a feeling the Vintage Photo will look the best. So I'm going to get that out. Okay, so I have Distress Oxide, and I have Distress Oxide, Vintage Photo, and Antique Linen. Alright, and first off, let me tell you that my coffee dyed papers, I use Folgers Instant Coffee. It gives it kind of a golden color. If I don't do that, then usually what I do is I tea dye. But if I want a golden coffee dyed paper, I tend to use the Folgers Instant Coffee. I like how it looks. Okay, all right, so what I do is I just get a multitude of different stencils, and I've got a few of them here, and I get bigger stencils. So you know, these are already coffee dyed, they're already dried, just the way you would normally coffee dye papers. And if you don't know how to do that, there are plenty of videos out there. And I'm going to take my Vintage Photo, and I am going to just kind of get some on here. And I am going to just kind of dab it on here. And I'm just using a regular dauber. You can use a lot of different things. You don't have to use this, but whatever you use, you want it to be pretty straight up and down. You don't want it to go like that, because then it will go underneath the what do you call it, the stencil. And this is a really cool way to decorate your pages and have it look like, you know, you spent a lot of time doing it, and it doesn't take any particular expertise. And if it's not perfect, that's fine, because you really don't want perfect. You want it to look, you know, like you threw some coffee on there, and then it just kind of. And what I do is, if my Distress Oxide is a little dry and it's kind of not doing real good, then I will just take my spritzer, my water spritzer, and spritz it a little bit, just so that I can pounce it pretty good, because you don't want to rub like you normally would rub, and like I just put a bunch like in that one spot, but that's okay. But you just do that, And that's all right if it's not perfect. So, because in the end, it's supposed to be homemade. So I'm actually doing these for some of my Halloween journals, so I'm wanting them a little bit darker, and that's kind of what I'm doing them for. So I, you know, they're going to look a little bit darker than maybe you would want them, but I also know that I'm going to use them for that. Now, I don't think I've gotten everywhere I wanted to go, but I'm just going to give you an idea, and that's how it's going to look. And it looks, you know, like a coffee dyed, really cool looking paper, right? And, you know, even on the other side, it doesn't look bad. So anyway, that's one way. We can take another one and see. And, you know, it really just depends on the stencil that you have. I mean, I have a lot of different ones, and let me see. These are kind of getting tangled up over here. Hold on. I do have, here's one that I like to use. So let me move this one aside. And of course, you know what, guys, you could also, since you've already got this on here, let me get another paper out and I'll show you. We could just spray this a little bit and wet it. This is the stencil we just used. And let me see if I can get this on there. And I'm going to wet my paper a little bit. Well, I don't know. I don't want it to be too wet. So I am just going to place that on there and press it down. Now the image is probably not going to be as crisp, but it will be a cool image. And we can do that. All right. And that is going to give us a pretty cool image when it dries. So, I mean, it won't be as crisp as the other one, but it'll look cool. So let's just put that aside. That's the one we just did. And let's get another one out. And what did I do with it? I just had it in my hand. What did I do with it? Okay. Here we go. All right, so here's one. I love using this one. I love the size of it. And I love the swirls and everything. And let's do, and I'm just spraying my ink pad a little bit and going in there, because you don't want to rub, so you're going to just go pounce. Right? You can do that. The other thing that you can do, and I like to do this a little bit, and then I'll show you in just a second. So I go over it, and it gives it kind of a, I don't know, an imperfect look. Okay, so I'm going to do that on most of it, and then I'm going to take my this makeup brush, and let me ink it up pretty good, because I don't think it has any ink on it. And then, hopefully I didn't move this too much, and then I'm just going to lightly go over some of it so it won't be as dark in spots. And it really looks cool. If you can get it not to move. So, I don't know if I have enough ink on there. We shall see. You know, you think you don't, and then sometimes it's surprising how much ink you'll get on there. But I like to pounce it because I don't want it to be perfect, and this really tends to put it on there perfectly. So and you know, I guess it just depends on the look that you want. Like I said, I'm using this to put in some kind of grungy papers, but I think that just turns out really cool. you know, let me see if I can find one that's very different. Oh, let's see here. Let's try. Oop, I've got them all stuck together. I've got this. Well, yeah, let's do this big rose pattern right here. I like that. So let me get another paper. How about this? This would, I think, will be cool. Try and get most of the rose on there. I'm going to use this, and then I'm going to go in and put the darker spots in there. And as I said, guys, my main reason I'm doing this is for kind of a grungy look. But if you want a light, I'm going to show you the Distress Oxide too. And I want to show you this too, because if you don't want it as dark, you can definitely do it this way and kind of control it. But I'm making several Halloween journals, and I want some plain papers to put in there, but I don't want them to be like just plain. And you know, I think everybody does that on a journal. You know, you have that, and then so cool. Look at that. Doesn't that look cool? I think that looks really neat. You know, on the other side, you could do the other side. There's no reason you know, you have to keep it you know, and not do it. So I mean, I don't know. Let's do that. And of course, you know, you can do this in colors. I'm just trying to make it look coffee dyed so it doesn't, you know, well, it is coffee dyed paper, but I'm stenciling it, and rather than trying to do a perfect image, you know, with a doily or whatever. And there's a way to do this with a doily too, so you just kind of have, but it doesn't turn out as, you know, as perfect as we might want it. But I usually like using my stencils. So here's that side. So I mean, that turns out pretty cool, I think. So let's try one with the what do you call it, the lighter color. This is just some flowers. Now I'm gonna have to change my thing here because that has all the dark colors on it. We're gonna try it with the Antique Linen, and I am gonna go ahead and wet that a little bit and go in here and pick up some ink. Okay, and let's see how I'm gonna want this on here. Let's see here, guys. All right, and I just, you know, start going in a circle. The trick is really to try not to move your you know, your stencil that much. But if you do, I don't know. I mean, the look that I'm going for, I don't care if it's perfect, if it's off a little bit. So anyway, I like the Antique Linen on this coffee dyed because it has a warm color to it, and that's kind of goes with it well. So, but I mean, you could use your walnut, you could use any of your browns. I guess you could spray it, you know, with your other, but I don't know. I don't think it would turn out the way that the look that I'm going for, but I think you could. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't. All right, I don't know if I put enough on here. Alright, so anyway, this is a lot lighter look. So I don't know if that's something, you know, that might be more of what you're looking for. I don't know. I mean, we can do it a little bit darker on the back. So, and just get more ink on it. I do have other colors that we could use that might work even better. Let me see here. Let's see. We have Scattered Straw, and it's a little bit darker. So let's see what that looks like. Okay. Oh, I put the wrong cover on there. Let's try that. I'm going to put this aside, and then I'm going to try the Scattered Straw on just a different paper. And I'm going to use a different stencil, I think, for that one. Here, let's try this one. Oops, that had like little dots on it from something else, so let me wipe that off real quick or get a different stencil. I'll just get a different stencil. So let's just add another piece of paper maybe. I don't want it to, I want you to be able to tell what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so now I'm going to try this Scattered Straw. It's a little yellower, a little darker. And I'm going to use the same brush because it's almost the same color, but just a little darker. So this is the Scattered Straw. Definitely a lot yellower. I don't know if I'm going to like that. We will see. Right? And I'm going to just continually go all over. And I could be too, that I just didn't have enough ink on the other one. I'm going to try it again. And I also have old paper. You can use that, but it kind of has a greenish tone to it, so I don't really like that. I really want to stay more in the warm tones. So let me see here. Try and get all over. And just see how we look when we're done. Okay, so that might be a better look for you if you're looking for something a little bit darker than the Antique Linen. I do think maybe let me try the Antique Linen again. And I'm going to try it on the other side. What did I do with that one? Let's try it again. So let's try it with this. I'm running out of papers. Okay, I have more in another stash. So let's try it with the Antique Linen again. And maybe we mix two together. How about that? Or I'll wet it a little bit more. So I'm going to try this. And let's see if I get it to be a little bit more of what I want. Right? So this is the Antique Linen. Of course, guys, you can use any kind of stencil you want, any pattern you want, and it will all work, right? I think I got all that part. I can't tell. All right. So, yeah, that turned out a little bit darker, but it is a lighter color, and I don't think it's gonna show up as much as the other one. So let's just see. This is the Scattered Straw, and this is the Antique Linen, and it's close, but it's not quite the same. But if you want a really subtle look, that's a good look. And then you've got this, and these are the Vintage Photo. So pretty much that's it, guys. I don't really have anything else to add to that. You can, and I've done this before. I hope I got the right one on there. Thank goodness they put the thing on the back, or I would never get them right. You can use plain old Vintage Photo and the inks. It works. It's, you don't have to use the oxide. Let me see if I have. Let's see here. You can use, this is the antique linen in the ink. And let me try and show you if you just use the Vintage Photo. Okay, so this is the antique linen in the distress ink, not the oxide. And it's a little bit different color. So I'll show you that real quick. If I have any more paper left, I don't know if I do. I might have to do it on the back of some of these. I thought I had more than that. Maybe I don't. Oh, here's a couple. Okay, here's some. Making a mess, guys. Big mess. Alright, so let me show you that. And this is the antique linen, and it's going to be the ink, not the oxide. Let's use this one. I've used it for something else and didn't clean it, but that's okay. It'll still work. So we're going to do that. And this is going to be, here, let me, I think I'm going to use this other thing. It'll work better. It does work a little bit better. It's easier to glide it across. So I'm going to go like that. And just see. And it is a darker color. So this is the ink and not the oxide of antique linen. It is different. It's not the same. You think when you get these, sometimes you think they're going to be the same and they're not. Which is good. I mean, the oxides have like a chalkier finish to them. I think you're going to like this, how it turns out. I think. So, and I'm going fast, so you guys, you know, take your time, get it the way you want, make sure you fill in everything, because I'm not even sure I'm doing that, so I'm just kind of guessing. I can't really see what I'm doing. Okay, but it is different, and I think you'll be happy to see it. Alright, so here is the, yeah, it is a completely different color and a lot darker. So if you're wanting that, that is your antique linen distress ink. Okay, and now I'm going to try the Vintage Photo, the ink itself, because this was the antique linen, just the paper. So it's, you know, a lot different as far as, you know. So let's try, see if I can find one I haven't used. I don't know if I have one I haven't used. So I'm going to do the rose one again because I really like that and I'm going to use it later. So I want it, I'm just being selfish because I really want to be able to use it in my journal. So alright, so let's try that. And this is the Vintage Photo Distress ink. It is not the oxide. So I'm going to kind of straighten that up a little bit. I don't care if it's perfect. And I am just going to go ahead and go over this. That is very not moist at all. You don't want it too wet because it will go underneath your stencil, but you want to make sure you get some ink on there. So this is going on pretty good, and it's going to have a completely different look than the oxide. So if this is all you have, then you'll see how it works. Of course, you can do this with any color you want, blues, greens, whatever. I've done that on a lot of papers, but I'm trying to make it look like it's a coffee dyed, you know, paper, or that's the point of this. And I always hear people talk about like if they print on one side, and then I tend to print double-sided if I'm you know, printing papers. But if you don't and you have a white side, this is the perfect thing to do. And then you have, you know, a beautiful design that's on one side. And of course, again, you can always do the other side, so you don't have to just leave it blank. So anyways, guys, that is it. That's all I had for today. I just kind of wanted to show you. So that was the oxide, and that's a good comparison. And then that was a distress ink. You don't see a whole lot of difference. I think this is a little bit lighter. Just to give you an idea of some ways that you can decorate your pages and not have to, you know, do a lot. Now see, I like this kind of, this like here where I just pounced and then I did both. I like doing both. I just think it gives it kind of a more natural coffee dyed look to it. You know, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I think it looks kind of cool that way. You have to decide what you like. And these are really light, but I think they're cool. It depends on what you want to do. Depends on what you want in, you know, in your journals. So you have to decide what you like. All right, that is all I have for today, guys, and I will be back soon with another video, but I just wanted to kind of share what I do, because I was doing this anyway for, like I said, for some journals that I'm making, and I think these will look great in there. All right, take care. Bye-bye.